When you say I found out that I was pregnant late, what is late?
18 weeks. That hurts, right? Because it's a gender identical baby.
Yeah.
It's not a blob.
That's like what, almost 4 months?
4.5 months.
4.5? Yeah. So how do you not know though? People are curious.
So,
like there's a lot of women that are
I'm
like.
definitely a crop top shawty. Definitely. Gym twice a day, 5 days a week, girl. Like I'm going to see my dad, my boyfriend, my doctor in a crop top. And nobody caught it. If I showed you pictures, you would be like, pregnant. Where my doctor that saw me that morning when we did finally figure it out, because I thought I had a tumor. I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
Because the tests were coming back negative. So when we finally figured it out, he was like, probably like 2 to 3 weeks. I can't really feel anything. It was my just gut feeling of like, let's get an ultrasound. He's like, you may not be able to see anything. I was like, yeah, but I just like want to see it. Like I want to like really like kind of like understand like this is real. You know what I mean? So then the ultrasound woman was like, how pregnant did you say you were? I was like, 2-3 weeks. And she was like, you want to know the gender? I'm still laying there like, how pregnant do you have to be to know the gender? Looking around. This is my first ultrasound. So I'm just looking around like, wow, like this is super cool.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even call anybody to go with me because I'm thinking you're not going to be able to see anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, okay,
it's
I'm just going to.
like soon. Like
yeah,
early.
like I'm going to make sure before I make the phone call, I'm going to make sure like this is real. Because again, I didn't want to make that phone call and it be fake. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like I'll just go get the ultrasound too. She was like, do you want to know the gender? And I'm still sitting here and dumb as hell. Like, how pregnant is that? She was like, you're measuring at 18 weeks. I'm like, wow, that's halfway. And she was like, yeah, you're halfway. And then a couple seconds later, she couldn't find a heartbeat.
What is that like? We are back for another amazing episode of Finding Your Niche with Niche. My name is Niche. I am your lovely host. And I am always excited when I actually get a chance to sit across from what I would call a boss chick. Like for real. Like in real life. Like not Instagram life, in real life. And right now I'm sitting next to one of the people that I have learned to really admire the hustle, the grind. Christianna Hurt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super hyped.
Yeah, I'm excited. So she's on the show today to talk about how she found her niche in specifically e-commerce, but there's a lot of elements, a lot of facets to her story, and she has become this multi-millionaire owner of Wealthy College Kid, which is an e-commerce educational platform as well as a clothing line company. And I want to kind of talk to you about that, but before we get into the nitty-gritty of the business aspects, I am even maybe a little bit more interested and fascinated with the person of who you are and your story and how you've been able to kind of overcome, so to speak, all of the adversities that you faced in order to kind of like see this current level of success that we see today. So if we were to kind of backtrack a little bit, because there's so many different nuances and facets to who you are. Can you talk to me a little bit, maybe for the people who don't know who Christianna is, who are you?
So, Christianna Hurt, and it's so crazy because I came into this world with just my first and last name. I had to add some little bit of split to it, but I moved out at 21 years old, which, you know, a lot of people may think like, oh, that's not that bad, but I moved out straight from my dad's house to live with a boy, which is a mistake a lot of people make nowadays, which if I had to do it all over again, I would highly recommend not moving out with a man, but unfortunately, you know, that was under the pretenses that this man was going to pay the bills. You know, I'm coming from my parents' house, so I kind of didn't really have a taste of adulting yet. To now, I have 30 days to figure out how I'm going to pay $3,000 in rent because he's not paying it. We're fighting. The situation is just getting violent.
Sorry. $3,000 in rent?
Yeah.
Where are you living? In outer space?
It was just a 3-2, like literally.
What the heck? What is going on here? Okay, sorry. Proceed.
So I had to figure out how I was going to pay the rent, and I started off with selling other people's products, was able to make the rent money literally like June 2nd because we had like 1 month free rent.
Okay.
So I paid the rent, but then I was still like dead broke. So I was selling other people's products to then selling my own products. So I started off with a fishing pole pen. I ain't never fished a day in my life. But I knew the types of people that like to fish, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew they're
Yeah.
older. I knew they would live by lakes, like things like that, my
Yeah.
ideal customer. So that kind of showed me, okay, like now I'm like making money, you know, 5-10 grand to then selling makeup and making like 89 grand in like 3 weeks.
Slow down. Because you're saying big numbers. Well, numbers that are big to some people.
No, of course. And I'll always tell people, like, I 100% was an anomaly.
Okay.
What my situation was very risky. I don't recommend it. One should never move out with a boy. Number two, you should not be taking credit cards and dumping them and spending all your money on advertising and just praying. And I was very blessed that I did do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was very blessed. But at the end of the day, deep down in my heart, I did have a home I could go back to.
Okay.
Even though I didn't do it and even though I didn't call for help,
You still had that safety net.
I had a safety net. And I definitely dumped everything with the mindset of like, well, if all else fails.
Did you do that because you knew you had a safety net?
At the time, no. But looking back, I'm like, that wasn't like that deep. It wasn't that risky. But in the moment, I would have rather died and gotten evicted than call my dad and tell him that he was right. Like,
Why?
Pride. Honestly, pride.
So your dad warned you?
Yeah, he told me not to move out. He was like, you're like, what are you doing? You have a perfectly good
So
home.
what is that phone call like when you have to humble yourself and like
And say, hey, I'm getting evicted?
Yeah.
I waited literally till the 24-hour notice was on the door to like, hey, I'm getting evicted. And he was like, what? Like, he was like, don't you have like a notice? Like, what? How much do you need? I was like, no, it's over. Like, the notice is on the door. I have to go.
When you tell the story, because you've told this story so many times, but you know, I heard somebody say once that I think it was a pastor. He said, the way you know you've really forgiven a situation or forgiven a person is if you don't have the same feelings when that story comes up. Have you forgiven that person? Have you forgiven yourself? Or when you tell this story so many times, are you still having the same emotions that were attached to the situation?
Absolutely not. If you had have asked me prior to 2018, 100%, there was like a lot, like my business was built out of survival and pain, and you know, it was a villain origin story, and I'm okay with saying that. And you know, 2018 came around and life really humbled me because I got pregnant and lost my son. So that C-section kind of like brought me back down to earth to not only just understand, you know, the value of life, but just understanding like, you don't want to make the phone call to that same parent to say, hey, they're trying to rush me to surgery. I need a blood transfusion, but I don't want to sign. Like that same pride is why I had to make that phone call just 2 years after my eviction. I had to make a same phone call of like, hey, like I got myself into something, but this time like my life was on the line. And I waited till the very last minute to the point that, it was, my surgery was supposed to last like, I think like 3 hours. I was under for like 11 hours.
Your surgery for?
My C-section. So obviously C-sections can go long, but I was under general. And because it was so rushed and I had lost so much blood, it was not a good story. And it was probably a lot of anxiety for my family, for everybody that was involved. And again, that just kind of brought me back down to earth. Like, you really have to sometimes make the call.
Okay, question. So that's a story that you kind of speed by. You speed by that story. You speed by that story a lot. I don't want to speed by that story anymore. Okay? I want you to talk about that because it's traumatic.
The eviction or my child?
Your child.
No, it's definitely the most traumatizing point of my life.
Yes. So I'm curious to know, because I'm a parent. I have a 7-year-old daughter now, and I couldn't imagine being so, learning about her, being so excited about her to find out that she's not going to exist in my life.
The day I found out was the same day I found out that he didn't have a heartbeat. I didn't even have the opportunity to process the emotion. So, and it's crazy because I don't know if for you, but when I went to the hospital, they kept sending in this lady. I'll never forget her. Her name was Danielle. She just kept coming in like, here to talk to you about postpartum. And I'm like, get out.
Yeah.
Was not trying to have the conversation, was not trying to, nothing. They were asking me if they wanted, I guess like the footprint. I didn't want that. I didn't want anything. I was not I wasn't trying to talk. I was just pissed. Like, I was angry at myself. I was angry at the man that I was involved with because I felt like he gave me a dead baby. I just was looking for anybody to blame, and it was just a lot. It took me like that happened in 2018. I probably didn't like really fully comprehend what happened to my body until like 2020.
Wow.
Didn't really grasp it and heal from it till like 2022.
Yeah.
Like June, not even a year ago. It took years.
So how often do you think about this child that you've never met?
I honestly stopped like holding on to him with my dear life probably this past June. I flew out to LA. I'm in a healthy relationship, so I was kind of like more open to having the conversations about it and not so much like holding on, because I still had the ultrasound that I was just like, you couldn't have conversations with me about it. And I dated prior to the relationship I'm in now.
Yeah.
And there was like arguments about this ultrasound.
What do you mean?
Like, why do you have that still? Like, let it go. I don't want to see it. And I'm just like, you can go. Like, I'll just be here with my ultrasound.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're not going to get a baby without me. And I'm like, that's nice. I'll be here with my ultrasound. That's cool. I just wasn't trying to have a conversation yet. There was no talking to me.
Yeah.
To 2022, like, I met somebody who had the patience to kind of like talk me down and like, okay, like, we're going to not have this in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But we're going to put him in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, he's going to be in the kitchen. He can be in there.
Yeah.
Like, to slowly like, okay, we'll put it in a safe. And like it kind of like edged me on. And then June made the decision to fly out to LA to see a high-risk pregnancy doctor that specialized in situations like this, because now I can't just get pregnant and go to an OB. It's something that we had to have a conversation with. So to having my first ultrasound June 2022 since that miscarriage.
Wow.
To knowing, how did it heal? What are our options? Are there any issues? To finding out like, hey, you're fine. Like nothing is gonna go wrong. But at the end, you're just going to deliver 6 weeks early as opposed to
the
normal, because we don't want you to contract, your uterus to contract, because you will die.
Right.
Because the uterus will rip. It'll rupture. So, and it just kind of assured me that like, hey, like if you do want to go natural, here are your risks. I'll ride this boat with you. But here's a safe route that you can go through and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So it kind of just assured me to feel like, okay, when I'm ready to have a child, there's nothing to worry about. Because you have to think, my first pregnancy ever in my life, there, we all have those, I think I'm pregnant.
I know.
Like, you have those moments, but you never, like, your first positive test where it's real, that was my first positive test ever. And I didn't know I was pregnant. I found out very, very late that I was pregnant. So, for me, you got to think, like, when I saw that positive, the fear of ever seeing it again realistically just made me think like, well, this is a death certificate.
Yeah.
Because the last time I got it, within 72 hours, I was being rushed to the hospital.
When you say I found out that I was pregnant late, what is late?
18 weeks. That hurts, right? Because it's a gender identical baby.
Yeah.
It's not a blob.
That's like what, almost 4 months?
4
months? 4.5? Yeah. So how do you not know though? People are curious. So like there's a lot of women that are like.
I'm definitely a crop top shawty. Definitely. Gym twice a day, 5 days a week, girl. Like I'm going to see my dad, my boyfriend, my doctor in a crop top. And nobody caught it. If I showed you pictures, you would be like, pregnant. Where my doctor that saw me that morning when we did finally figure it out, because I thought I had a tumor. I thought I was dying. Yeah. Because the tests were coming back negative. So when we finally figured it out, he was like, probably like 2 to 3 weeks. I can't really feel anything. It was my just gut feeling of like, let's get an ultrasound. He's like, you may not be able to see anything. I was like, yeah, but I just like want to see it. Like I want to like really like kind of like understand like this is real. You know what I mean? To then the ultrasound woman was like, how pregnant did you say you were? I was like, 2-3 weeks. And she was like, you want to know the gender? I'm still laying there like, how pregnant do you have to be to know the gender? Looking around. This is my first ultrasound. So I'm just looking around like, wow, like this is super cool. Yeah. Like I didn't even call anybody to go with me because I'm thinking you're not going to be able to see anything. Yeah. I'm thinking like, okay,
it's
like I'm just going to.
like soon. Like
yeah,
early.
like I'm going to make sure before I make the phone call, I'm going to make sure like this is real. Because again, I didn't want to make that phone call and it be fake. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like I'll just go get the ultrasound to. She was like, do you want to know gender? And I'm still sitting here and dumb as hell. Like, how pregnant is that? She was like, you're measuring at 18 weeks. I'm like, wow. That's halfway. And she was like, yeah, you're halfway. And then a couple seconds later, she couldn't find a heartbeat.
What is that like?
I didn't understand it at the time. You got to think, this is my first time. How would I understand that means you're miscarrying? That means you go home. That means, like, I didn't understand that. When she told me I was going to pass him naturally and see my OB, I was like, no, I was on Google trying to see how to remove dead baby. Like, I was just on Google, like, trying to figure it out.
Oh my God.
I didn't know you could go to the hospital. I did not know. I'm 23 at the time. Like, I didn't know.
Dang,
Yeah,
girl.
So it was traumatizing.
I definitely could imagine that.
And, yeah.
And so you decided to carry the ultrasound to try to carry that and continue
it just, I don't know. I felt like I was just holding on to making up for my mistakes.
I don't want to stay on this too long, but I feel like there's a person that can benefit from this conversation. But I want to know, like, is there a part of you that is like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to ask the question. That is kind of like, you feel like you let your son down?
I felt like as a woman that, you know, my success was cool. And this is crazy because this was even before the hype of like men roles and men, it was before the hype. I just felt like, damn, like my one job on this earth as a female is to create life. And I have a dead kid. I failed myself. Like, I failed the people around me. I failed my family. I failed everybody.
How can you fail though? How can you hold yourself accountable for something you didn't know?
Because I should have known. How did I miss that? I was working too much. I was working out. I was partying. I wasn't drinking at the time, but I definitely like would think about the times I'd skip breakfast.
Yeah.
Or didn't drink a bottle of water. Like all of those things now were running through my head.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So did you have a period of time where you blamed yourself?
Yeah, for like 2 years. Like literally like 2 years.
Wow.
Like it was bad. It was really bad. Like the relationships I have, I pray for all of you every day because there was no talking to me. It was just, I had a goal of creating a family and I didn't care how I got it. I did not give not one fuck about anybody. Like it was just in my head of like, I'm going to create a family and whatever happens to you is whatever happens to you.
Wow.
Did not care. And you have these people that are like actually like in love with me.
Yes.
And I have not an ounce.
You just have like this selfish motive.
I have this selfish motive from the very beginning of like, I need my son back. Like, are you going to give me a son or get on? Like, I don't need anything else. I need my family. Like, there's just no talking to me.
Yeah.
And then when I wasn't getting pregnant, because at this point I was just like, that was definitely gambling.
Yeah.
But it wasn't happening. So I'm like, get out. Like, it's your fault. It's you. It can't be me. It's you. Like, you're a broken man.
Yeah.
Like, you're broken. So definitely pray for all of them. And it was just a time that I just had to take a step back and go to therapy.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely go to therapy and just kind of unlearn that in a sense and like let it go and then allow a relationship to just come to me. And
yeah, naturally and organically.
God brought me a man that had patience for all of that really could just like talk me down to feel trust him enough that when it does happen, like you're gonna be fine.
It's supposed to happen the way that it's supposed to happen. Wow, what a fascinating story. And I feel like there's so much meat to take from that, and that there's so much substance of like the narrative, you know, of what you're saying is very sobering. And I feel like a lot of women can relate to that. I feel like it will resonate, not even just the loss of a child, but when you think of if you isolate those two and you think about, okay, the loss of a child is one thing, but then like you're still you as a person, as a human being.
It's just a very different feeling when you're sent home from the hospital and you still look pregnant. I was that far. I looked pregnant. And people
So what is
ask,
the phone call when you're like, hey,
I'm pregnant?
Or no, I'm not?
I called him from, so the guy that I was dating was a high school sweetheart. So that made it even worse. He had known me like damn near 5, 6, 7 years probably, like whole high school career. So I knew he was on felony probation.
Okay.
Knew he was gonna murder me. I didn't call him. I made the call. I got my passport. This is when I got my passport. So my miscarriage was on the 13th. My surgery was on the 16th. I got my passport the 28th. I got released on the 26th. So I got released. I was at my dad's house because I wasn't allowed to be alone. He had left to go to work, and my sister was not aware that I was not supposed to go anywhere. So I had her take me to Target, and somebody saw me and they asked me if I was pregnant. That set me off. So I went online, got a same-day passport, got her to take me, went to the courthouse, got my passport. I left one way to Dominican.
Where'd you go?
I went to Dominican Republic with some random guy that I met off the internet. Told him I lost a kid. I make money. You make money. Like, want to collab? Like, I just got to get out of here. Like, I literally just, and I didn't know the kid more than a week. He knew the situation. I just had to be honest. Like, hey, just let you know, like, I have a C-section. I'm stitched up. I'm glued up. But I have to get out of here. And he was just digital nomading his life. So he was like, sure. I'm like, okay, cool. Hopped on a plane and go meet some random, like, stayed out there a month till my body went back to normal because I couldn't do anything. So you got some weird kid that's just like fascinated with me because I do make money on the internet like him. Meanwhile, I'm fighting demons.
Yeah.
And I called him from the DR because I knew he couldn't have the conversation with me. He wasn't going to be able to like corner me to be like, no, we're going to talk. Like, because he would have drove. He would have drove over to my home, broke the door down. Like, you don't do stuff like that. And he's right. You shouldn't do things like that.
Yeah, disclaimer.
But I didn't want to have the conversation. I wasn't ready. I wasn't. Like, I just wasn't. And the way that I did it, I called him from DR and I photo mailed him. Like, you know, just sent everything. Like, it was, I was like, check your phone. He was, where are you? I'm like, I'm out the country. He was, when are you coming back? I don't know. Click. We actually didn't sit down for like probably a year and a half.
Wow.
Like, sit down and like really have the conversation. Because he thought I aborted it. So there was like a huge clash of like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I would never. He's like, you're lying. Why would you hide it? And it was just a huge clash until they released my medical records and it showed like, hey, woman, was rushed in. Yeah. And it calmed, you know, the surface.
Were they able to kind of, was your nurse at all able to tell you how long the baby had been?
So, no, this is where my story gets worse.
Okay.
So I had gone to, you know, the only place that can get dead babies out. What's that? Let's take a guess. It's like a chop shop. Planned Parenthood.
Oh, Planned Parenthood. Okay.
It's like a chop shop. So they had attempted to get him out, like DNC way, because that is the way that they remove children, like dead, past fetuses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they use a tool called a dilator stick that will fill with water to open your cervix up to 10 centimeters. Okay. The dilator stick, unfortunately, they should have known from the very beginning, but unfortunately, my cervix tightens, not opens. It tightens. So the dilator stick was inserted, it tightened, and all of the dilator sticks were absorbed into my uterus. So now, you've seen Willy Wonka? It's like the best comparison.
The classic?
You remember Violet? How she blew up?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only comparison. I started to blow up. Now, I didn't realize it, but the people around me were starting to freak out, and they were freaking out.
So the sticks are inside of you?
11 dilator sticks had started to fill with water inside of my uterus and were expanding with my son. So they should have just sent me to the ER, but they attempted for hours to try to get them out. I lost too much blood. I went into shock. That's when they rushed me to the hospital, and that's when I called my dad.
So, but do you end up having a C-section?
They couldn't get him out. They couldn't get anything out of me at that point. There's too much. There wasn't enough time to keep trying to push. They do a C-section.
Yeah, they do the C-section, and they cut you open and take everything out that way.
Yeah. Traumatizing. It was horrible. That's why I can't have a baby. I could, but there would be a huge risk
to try to have a natural birth.
Yeah, it would be a huge risk. Like, he said, like 30% chance of death.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, all right, we'll do the C-section. He was like, I'll try if you really want to. I'm like, you got it. I won't. But, wow. But yeah, the dilator sticks started to fill with water in my uterus. Obviously, now I'm going into shock, blood loss, so was rushed to the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
So it was just a whole mess within itself of like, why did you go there? I'm like, that's what Google said.
So many life lessons at such a short, like as young life.
23.
Right, 23. So many things, but if we fast forward past that very traumatic experience to seeing like, you kind of be able to have this capacity to mentally think of, okay, how do I want to make a shift in who I am?
Yeah, because for a while I wouldn't even talk about it. I didn't even admit that I got pregnant till almost like June of 2018. I didn't even
acknowledge it at all.
Wasn't talking to anybody.
Whoa.
I just kept working like nothing was happening.
When she says working, y'all, like she got laser focused.
Yeah, literally. I started the first version of my kids brand, Just Kidding Around Kids. Sold kids clothes, kids shoes, did like $500,000 in like 2.5 months. But my business partner, thank God for him, because I was just so off the racket of people posting with like children and hitting us up. That I didn't want to like even fulfill the orders.
Because it was just always a trigger.
Everything was triggering to me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about Wealthy College Kid and the inception of that, and then, you know, what it's meant to you so far. Walk me back to the day where you're like, I think I want to do this.
Selling online or teaching people?
Selling online.
Because I saw that it worked. That was all I needed. Like, this was a way that I could pay my rent, and this was a fast way.
Yeah.
So it made sense. Like, selling just random pumping up products like fidget spinners back then was selling. Like, you can't do that now in 2022, but back in 2016, 17, 18, you could sell anything on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yeah. I want to take a pause here because your eyes are glazed.
Fighting demons.
I know. Your eyes are glazed. So I want to talk to you about that, actually.
Yeah.
So you're telling this story, and you talked about, you know, some of the demons, so to speak, that you've been able to overcome just almost recently. I want to talk about the narrative behind being, like, healed versus... I'm trying to think of the other word, because it feels like you're able to talk about it, but I'm still seeing that, like, as you're telling this story, your eyes are like glazed.
Because there's always an emotional attachment.
Okay.
And I feel like there's like a huge stigma, I guess, between healed and like being a strong Black woman.
Okay.
And I feel like I was strong to survive it, but I am healed because I'm okay with the fact that it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like, it doesn't make me resentful or angry, and I don't blame myself or anybody anymore. But I still have an emotional attachment to that. You know what I mean? Like, that was something that I did really want, and it happened. Yes, and I acknowledge, you know, miscarriage is normal, and I can have more children, but I don't have a child yet. So there's always going to be that little bit of, like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, you just hold on because you haven't had something else to grab onto. I will never, ever be that person that's like, oh, I have 2 kids and one's in the sky. I will never be that person. But I am a person that I'm always going to hold on to that pregnancy until I get the opportunity for my next. And then I feel like I will fully let go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a person that, like, I have to hold on to something, but I have to have something else to grab onto.
I totally
understand
am like,
that. That's just what it is. Like,
yeah, so
I'm sure some therapists will try to be like, that's horrible. Hold on to yourself and faith. But for me, what's going to ground me is that next pregnancy for sure. But yeah, no, I'm still always going to hold on to that situation, the feeling, because it's the only feeling I have. It's all that I have, literally. So, but yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's actually powerful, because it also makes me think too, like, you know, there might be a sector of women who might feel like, I don't know, that's unfair. But with you doing that, once you get pregnant again, is it more so like you're saying that in order for you to let go of what was or what could have been, you have to I need to
have what I lost.
You need to have what you lost.
I need a child. Like, that's like, I'm going to stand on that. Like, that's really what it comes down to, because it's like, you want me to let go of a pregnancy, and I've never experienced a secondary pregnancy.
Yeah.
And normally the people telling me this have kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you to tell me to let go of something you have? You know what I mean? That's like telling somebody not to be hungry, and we're at a table and you're the only one eating.
Yeah.
And you're saying, don't be hungry.
Yeah.
Your time will come. No, like, I'm hungry too, and I know that my plate will come, but I'm still hungry, and I feel like you need to acknowledge that that's okay. Like, so yeah, that's me.
That's good. No, I think that's incredibly insightful and commendable for you to be able to have, like, the ability to own that, even though it's not necessarily a popular,
the stigma, I
guess, it's not a popular, narrative
definitely the stigma
to take on. But yeah, I definitely commend you for that. And I also commend you for your ability to be a super, super dope businesswoman. And so I am interested in that. And I think people do want to learn from that because there's so many facets to your story, whether it be the miscarriage, whether it be the eviction, whether it be the domestic violence, how you've been able to kind of cultivate a sense of strongness because at the same token, like, yes, black women are quote unquote are supposed to be strong, but you are
so crazy because I
strong.
feel like I don't want to be strong.
Why don't you want to be strong?
For what? Like, to be honest with you, I always tell people this too. Like, do you really think, like, if God had given me a second door and door number 1 was, like, become a millionaire, get everything and work for it, and door number 2 was, like, date another guy that's rich, you really think I would have just dated somebody? Like, I'm just saying, like, I hate to be like that, but, like, really think about it. How many women, if there was the choice, the opportunity to date, because I was dating a guy that made 6-7 figures, and that was like, you know, I've always dated up. And you really think, like, I woke up and I was like, I'm going to be a girl. No, I was pissed. Like, it was a villain origin story. And most career women, if you notice, it's because of some bad relationship, some best friend. It's always like, there was always some bad story behind it. Nobody was like, when I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a boss. Like, no, I wanted to bake cookies. Like,
right.
And I don't know, like, I'm baking cookies and I'm cool. Like, I'm cool.
Yes, I have to ask you because you just tapped into like the idea of relationships and the perception behind relationships and just this domestic life that you're talking about. If you had the choice to pick between the two, if people have been following you for a little while, they would know that one of the ways that you are most known, most popular is from having your Kevin Samuels conversation.
And he said I could get $1 million man.
Talk to me about the moment, like, you tapped into that conversation.
I don't feel like anything he said was wrong, except for the fact that he said therapy made me damaged. I don't really agree with that. But for the most part, like, he was right, though. Like, I'm a well-kept woman, though. I have been my whole childhood. That's the type of dynamic I grew up watching. And my first serious relationship was that. The only reason it didn't go that way is because he forced me to be that. Like, he put me in a corner. But otherwise, I would have just been sitting there cooking and baking cookies. Like,
really?
like I do now, cooking and baking cookies. I still believe in a traditional relationship. And my relationship now is serious to the point that I'm not striving to make 8 figures. I'm cool at my 3 million, like 2 to 3 million a year. I'm cool. I'm able to support the things that I want to do, and our combined income, we qualify for the things that we, you know, want, and the monthly payment he can handle. So it's fine. If we need my income to get us there and you pay the mortgage, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I'm not looking at rent. I'm not paying mortgage. I don't know what a bill is. That's
honest reaction. Honest reaction. You're scrolling on Instagram. Kevin Samuels is dead. What are you thinking?
You know what's crazy? People were blowing my comments up. They thought I killed him.
Shut up.
I was his last live. I was the last person. Like,
shut up.
I was his last live. That's why Revolt TV, I covered it. They were saying I killed him. I'm like, I did not kill that man. I had nothing to do with that. Like, they're like, you killed him. I'm like, bro, I did not kill that man. And he died.
How long were you guys on for?
Like an hour and a half. Like, super long.
And you were his last live?
Yeah.
Girl.
I know.
Dang.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
he made me a better me.
Rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Yeah. Outside of Kevin Samuels giving you relationship advice and just maybe holistic advice about, you know, your identity, what do you think has been your best takeaway from all of your experiences? What do you think has been your best takeaway for, like, who you are?
I just feel like, again, like every experience and every opportunity has always allowed me to better myself. The Kevin Samuels experience definitely helped me understand the longevity of relationships and retention in relationships. Because I never had a problem getting high value men or men that made a certain amount of money. I just feel like, one, I was very quick to quit. I'm very quick, like, first red flag, I'm gone. Yeah. And he kind of like just put me in a position of like, you cannot keep just aggressively dating because you can. Like, you have to fight for something. And it also really made me put my foot down. I'm not I've only done it twice. Don't want to act like I'm just out here living with mad men. I've done it twice and both times were horrible. But I will not cohabitate with a man that is not giving me commitment. Like, I'm not doing that.
What's commitment?
Meaning a ring. I am not living together.
Okay, this is good.
Quiet.
Okay, now we about to get juicy.
It's quiet.
Listen to me. Okay, so I'm curious to know. I do want to ask you this. Okay, so I've been married for, August will be 15 years. I've had different conversations with different women.
15 years?
Yes, girl.
Like 1-5?
Yes.
But you have a ring.
I know. That's what I'm
okay.
saying. I've been married for 15 years.
I was like, you have a ring.
No. But when you say commitment, it's just marriage. Is commitment also faithfulness to you?
Yes, 100%.
Because I've met some women that are like, he can do his little thing, thug this, but then still be married to me. So I'm interested to know, what's your narrative behind that?
Do his own thing, like what? Like go bowling?
No, no.
It's funny.
Go bowling with
Keisha.
Keisha.
And you know what's crazy? I always hear, Fresh and Fit tried to pull that conversation with me too. Like, oh, well, he's going to cheat on you. And I'm like, at the end of the day, to my knowledge, I have a faithful relationship.
Right.
If to my knowledge, it is changing, at the end of the day, I am okay with being judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Yes.
And what you do with that information is cool, but a lot of people get acquitted in this day and age.
Right.
So I'm willing to take my gamble. People gamble their life savings on games.
Facts. And that's...
But I'm wrong because I'm openly like, like if it happens, it happens. And I will lay my bet and make it. You know what I mean? Like that's my preference. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, no, like, commitment to me is giving me, I've always told people, like, why would I give my child your last name if I don't even have it? Like, I said that to my man. Like, you think a baby's going to come into this world with your name and I'm going to be the outsider?
Right.
Like, lost me. You better take us to the courthouse. Or me and that baby, stepdaddy lives matter. But we're going to all have the same last name.
Facts.
Like, I'm not playing that. I'm just not. I'm putting my foot down. And the cohabiting thing is because, for example, okay, I make more than my boyfriend. Let's say, for example, I want to live in a place that's $10,000 a month. And
okay.
he told me, no, I can only do 5. And you want me to go 50-50. I'm not going 50-50 with no boyfriend. You want to be a team? Yeah. You better put us on the same team with the same last name on the back of the shirt. And then I would do a 70-30 or a 50-50. If you fall down, I pick you up. But I'm not picking a boyfriend up. Like, I'm sorry, you have a mother for that. Yeah. Like, you're just going to have to do it. Like, that's just what I'm standing on. A lot of people will chew me up about this. But if you want me to be a team and we'll hold you down and build, we all got to be on the same. We got to have, how they have teams? The same name is on the back of the shirt. Like, that's just what it is.
How do you feel? Because you're, the bravado the energy that I'm feeling right now.
No, it gets masculine. It's like, I'm not doing this.
It's very masculine, very much independent, very much a boss chick. But how do you balance the two of being so independent, being so accomplished in your own right with your own success, but still having this juxtaposition of having to be, quote unquote, submissive?
I'm domesticated. I lived in a domesticated home. For example, I don't eat cereal. I don't eat reheated food. I don't eat pre-cooked food because my mom cooked everything fresh my whole life. So I don't expect my man to eat cereal because I don't eat cereal. I know that everything has to be cooked fresh. I know that we don't eat reheated food. We cook every single meal. There is no leftover Thursday. I didn't grow up with leftover Thursday, so I don't have that. You know what I mean? And laundry isn't done on Sundays. Laundry is done 7 days a week. Like, that's how I grew up. That's how I run my home by myself. That's how I run my home with my man. Everything is done. Like, so as long as you provide, then why wouldn't all of that be done? I don't know when the first of the month is. So why wouldn't I do all of that stuff? Yeah. I know that my man's plate is supposed to be brought to him. I know, like, I have those same things because that's how I grew up. You know what I mean? So making my man's plate first isn't, like, it's not strange to me. That's normal. You know what I mean? Like, his clothes being dry and all that, like, everything's done. Like, I don't know. Like,
wow. And you were brought up that way?
I was brought up that way. Yeah.
And it's never strayed?
No.
Wow. Has anybody taken advantage of that?
Yes, but that's why I left all the time. So I left. Like, I just, like, and it was crazy because I know people will associate that with promiscuity.
Promiscuity?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, I don't want it to, like, slur. But, no, I just felt like I'm not supposed to be here. So I just leave. But I always give my relationships 110% when, like, every single time. And I feel like that's why when I do leave, I don't feel like I left anything on the table. So,
wow.
But definitely. But no, my mom was a mom. That was her job.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and with being a business owner, I'm curious to know, because like you just mentioned, you make more than your boyfriend. Like, how have you been able to navigate that kind of terrain of like being in a relationship where you make more than the person that you're with?
So, you know, you only have to make a certain amount of money to qualify for things.
What do you mean?
Like a mortgage or a car.
Right, okay.
So, me, like, after a certain number, what does it matter? My man could go get a G-Wagon, whether it's cash, financed, or lease.
Yeah,
the
idea that he doesn't have to get one, but the idea that he could get
like,
one.
he could go get it, like, you know what I mean? Just because, like, you guys think, I feel like people associate that, like, he couldn't do it. He could go put 10 grand down on a G-Wagon and give it to me and pay the monthly payments. Like, what do I care how he got it? He could still do those things for me.
What if he could only put down enough to get a Honda Civic? Does that matter to you?
We wouldn't be together. We wouldn't have that conversation.
Why?
I didn't come into the relationship with a Honda Civic. He didn't come into the relationship with a Honda
Civic. Well, why does that matter?
Because I'm not building anybody from zero. You have to have already, like, your house has to have 4 walls. I'll put the couch and the food on the table, but you have to have a house when I get here. I'm not.
You have to be able to be adequate enough and
because
stable
you have to
enough.
think a man is paying rent or mortgage in his own place by himself. How much does it cost him if I sleep there? Did he lose out on anything? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think a man is going to fight me for 50-50 because I drink all the milk in the house? No. Like, a real man is going to provide the same way he was providing for himself before I got there. I'm just an add-on.
Would you still, I guess what I'm asking is, would you still be in love with your current boyfriend?
If he fell off tomorrow?
Yes.
He has a time limit. There's a time limit with everything.
Wait a second. Time out.
Like, I would still be there, yes. I would still be there, yes, but there is a time limit.
What's the time frame?
Like a year, like, to get your shit together. Like, stand back up. Like, you could fall, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be standing here like, when are you gonna get back up? Because a real man will get back up.
That's true.
Like,
that's facts. Okay.
He's not gonna stay down there forever.
Yeah.
Like, I trust that he will always be able to get back up. So, but there's a time, if you down there for a year, you done. Like, call your mom.
You're tapped out.
Yeah, like, he's out for the count. But, no, like,
That is very interesting. Okay, so for the women, that's good advice. For women who are in a relationship, pursuing a relationship.
I have a question for you.
Okay, what's your question?
How long did you wait for a ring?
2 years.
Kevin Samuels told me 2 years.
Yeah, me and my husband did long distance for 2 years.
And then you got a ring?
I got a ring, and then we got engaged, and then 6 months later we got married.
Kevin Samuels told me 2 years.
And I didn't have a wedding.
See, the more I learn about weddings, the more I'm okay with that. Like, the first, I was so
I want one, though.
it.
Like, now, like, at our 20-year mark, I'm like, I want to do something.
Yeah.
But
at first, I was so set on it, and now learning about them,
yeah,
I'm like, I don't want to pay for strangers to eat. I didn't know that. I didn't know you paid for those people.
Yeah, you have to pay.
I didn't know that. I didn't understand it. Now,
God, yeah.
Understanding it, I'm like, oh, a destination wedding with 10 people sounds
great. Right, 10 people.
Like, the people that can afford their own flight.
Exactly.
This is a
like,
great
see
idea.
y'all there.
Yeah, like,
exactly.
This is a great idea. I definitely think I'll have a destination wedding. And there will be 10 people.
No, yeah. I highly encourage marriage. I think it's, like, one of the most beautiful things. I love it. It's been an amazing experience for me. And I feel like what you're saying, like, when you have that anchor of somebody who's, like, totally committed to you and is, like, your life partner, thick and thin, like, through and through. All the good, all the bad.
I feel like it gives me something to fight for.
It does.
I feel like if I had a child with no ring, I will leave you.
Mm-hmm. Easily.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, I don't need this. I make money. But that commitment and that, you know, like, us really being on the same team and having all that same name, I'm like, no, like, I'll thug it. Like, at least, like, yeah, through thick and thin. As long as it's not no crazy shit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yes, like, I feel like we have something to fight for. So for me, like, it's worth it. So.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so for the women who are like, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a boss in business, what were some of the key, I guess, factors to your success that you can kind of like translate to women who want to follow in your footsteps?
Consistency, definitely waking up every single day and just giving it 110%. Grind culture. I know a lot of people are against it. Grind culture.
What's grind culture?
Work until you die. Work 9 till 9. Just put in the fucking work.
And like in a day? A day's worth?
Like 6 months every day.
6 months every day.
Like, I was not going to sleep for days. Not healthy. Not recommended. Wow. But if you're a person that honestly like looks at my results, looks at my lifestyle, and you're like, damn, I want to be there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do that. Like, you're gonna have to. It's just the truth. You know, there's AI, there's people that will make it easier, but at the end of the day, you just have to put in the fucking work.
Yeah.
You just do. Like, that's just the truth. Like, you have to wake up every day and put in 110%. Like, you don't have anything.
And you did that for how long?
4 years.
And now it's paid off.
Mm-hmm. Now I have staff, and now I travel all the time and bake cookies and worry about what my man is eating if he wants.
Go skiing.
Yeah, I make sure he took his probiotics and
uses
his native toxic-free deodorant because we live a toxic-free life. Because I check the labels of everything because that is my life now.
Wow. Okay, so they need to grind for 4 years straight.
Literally, just
don't
grind.
sleep, barely sleep.
Barely sleep, put in the work 120% as much as you can. Especially if you're a woman with no kids, no baggage, nothing. Put in 110% and you will definitely see the fruits of your labor. Like, I went to 20 countries last year.
Wow.
Like, just got a Bentley. Like last month.
Yeah. A
lot of people don't do both. But Brandon brought
facts.
Oh, and my Bentley's paid cash. 2019 cash, pink slip. Traveling.
Wow. Okay. So you just
living life.
Okay, so you're living life. You're traveling to all these countries. You have a Bentley. But would you walk away today saying that you are fulfilled?
If I got pregnant today, yeah.
So that's the only thing that's missing.
The only thing, because I'm ready to like sit down somewhere, but my boyfriend's just like, I'm working, chill. And I'm like,
he's on what you were on.
Yeah, he's working to be able to be a sole provider, you know, be a one income home to a degree, or at least, 70-30 home. Yeah. So I respect that. I let him work, and while he's working, you guys can find me in Brazil with my other unemployed homegirls.
I cannot. Okay, so with your business, though, you've been able to achieve essentially multi-million-dollar success with that. What would you say was the common denominator to being able to accomplish that level of revenue?
Consistency.
Why does so is that...
I will actually break it down. Every single day, I will go live 3 times a day. Every single day. Even today, actually, I'm on Clubhouse Monday through Friday an hour. I'm on live Monday through Friday an hour. I do a free class every single Wednesday. I've done close this year to 38 podcasts. Literally, I don't turn down work. I don't. Wow. I literally in 2019, I did 40 events. I just kept showing. I showed up with no tickets sometimes. I was like, I'll figure it out when I get there. Like putting myself in the room, posting, doing advertisements when I don't know how, reaching out to influencers. I do all of it. And I did it myself because how am I going to hire somebody if I don't even know what it takes? Like sales calls, everything. Like I woke up every single day and I had a routine and I did every single thing until I had a sale. I will call people until I make a sale. I will email people until somebody responds back. I did not give up. I did not take no for an answer. And that to me is consistency. And if you need a to-do list, you need to start with post on TikTok, post on Twitter, post on Facebook, post in a Facebook group. Did you make a Lemon account? Lemon 8 just rolled out. Did you post on LinkedIn? Did you go live on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok? Do all of those things every single day. And if you don't have an idea of what to post, ask ChatGPT what to post for today and do it. And after you're done posting, did you email, I wanted to be a travel influencer. I emailed every single hotel I wanted to stay at in 2022 until 2 of them picked me up. And that's okay. Like, I wanted to do that, so I put in the work. I emailed them. I DM'd them. My boyfriend's verified, so I asked him to DM all of those pages and DM and see if he got a response. And we just do that until we get a response.
Wow.
That is consistency. And I did that for 4 years. With literally even my miscarriage in the hospital bed, I was closing deals. I made I think I have a post. I have a video. It's sad and traumatizing and triggering, but I'll post it again. It's a video of me and you see the gauze and I'm like, hey guys, You see the ultrasound in the back with the pregnancy test because I was sleeping next to it at this time. I was fresh out. And I'm like, hey guys, just wanted to show you my progression. Just got back from a vacation because I didn't know what happened to me. I just looked sick. And I'm like, hey guys, and I flipped the screen and I show like, did 38,000 in 7 days. And it's like, I think it was showing like April 20th.
Yeah.
Mind you, it happened on the 13th type shit. Like it was like,
my
so
gosh.
scary. I did not care. I'm like, hey guys,
Girl.
like, look at my stuff. Like, make sure you like, comment, da-da-da-da. I did not care. Nothing. Like, and people are commenting like, is that an ultrasound?
Yeah.
You don't look okay.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
delete. Like, if it's not about that video, I did not care. Like, I just deleted it. But I literally did not stop for 4 years through everything, which a lot of people will say that was like a huge trauma response, and it was. But I was doing that before it happened.
Right.
I was. Like, it wasn't that I started doing that because of my miscarriage. I was doing that through it, during it, after it. I was just every day posting, lying about what happened, lying about the fact that I got pregnant because it was nobody's business at the time. To then I finally admitted it and I made a video. I was like, yeah, this happened and stuff like that. But for the most part, no, wake up every single day and post and create and try your best. If you like your last dollar, like I was doing, and you'll see the results.
Yeah.
That's real consistency though.
And as we close, I'm curious to know, because finding your niche with niche, I love talking to people who have found their own lane, found their path. For you, so far, it's been the e-commerce, you know, and the clothing line. But what would you say was that moment for you where it was like, okay, this is exactly what I want to do in comparison?
My purpose?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I always tell people, like, my purpose was never selling crap online.
Okay.
It was never teaching people either. My purpose was being able to do all of the things as a child now. You know what I mean? I saw in a history book the pyramids. So being able to go out and see the pyramids was my purpose. My purpose was just being able to like, and it's crazy. Every world wonder, I have like the same corny photo. All of my new car pictures look like school pictures. Like, it's just like I'm just happy to exist. I'm happy to learn and understand the things that, you know, have happened in this world and, you know, our history. Like, I'm just a sponge.
That's good. I just had this thought just now. If there were words that you would want to say to your unborn son, what are those words?
What would I say?
What would you say?
Hey, we did it. That's it. We did it. Because you made it. You're here with me.
Wow.
Yeah, we did it.
Oh, give me a hug. I'm so proud of you.
But yeah, it's just like, we did it. When he's finally here, we did it. You didn't die.
What do you mean by that?
We did it. We made it through pregnancy.
Wow.
So it's just like, yeah.
I love you.
It's so hard. And it's crazy because people are always telling me I look emotionless on camera and they're never seeing me break. But it's just, I just feel like that's the only thing I would say is we did it. Because when we make it, it's like we made it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing I could be grateful for is to make it.
And I'm trying to understand when you say when we make it.
Because pregnancy, no matter how you look at it, it's, you're gonna wake up with fear. You know what I mean? I'm sure like you can relate. Like you're just scared, or like, oh, scary. You feel something. Like I tell people, like, it's gonna be hard for me to look at a positive and be happy. I'm gonna get scared. I just know I am, because you know, like, I wanted to make it. So like when I think of my son or I think of a future pregnancy, I just think of like whoever was like, what would you say? It's like, we did it. We made it. Like, we made it through the third trimester, because 18 weeks isn't normal.
Yeah.
It's not, unfortunately.
So 19 weeks for
18,
you is a milestone, though.
Yeah, well, no, because you can't survive outside the womb until 22. So 22 would be my milestone mentally. But yeah, like, it's just, it's a freak accident.
Yeah.
And I take that for what it is. I learned, and I definitely, you know, I needed that in a way. I always say that. Like, sometimes you're financially ready, but not mentally ready. And I feel like that put me on track to understand. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, I just want to make it.
Yeah.
Because I've made it. And you know what's crazy? My miscarriage removed my fear factor. So I skydive, I jump off cliffs, I do lots
everything.
I have no indicator of fear.
Wow.
And materialistic stuff doesn't give me a dopamine high. The skydiving and the cliffs and the snowboarding and the wakeboarding, that's where my dopamine comes from now. It's
really?
Yeah, it's bad because I felt like I cheated death. I lost so much blood. Like, I was laying there on some like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
like, fuck it. Like, and it's crazy. You see those TikToks. I saw it for a while. Everybody was like, if you have to choose me or the baby, choose me. And it's like, I have kids at home. But for me in that moment, and for 2 years after, I'm like, if I have a kid, don't pick me. I was on that for a minute.
Wow.
It took my boyfriend to kind of like talk it of like, we can make more babies.
Yeah.
I can't get another you.
Right.
We can have 100 babies. You is over.
You gotta be here.
And I wasn't thinking like that at first. I was thinking like, no, I want this baby to make it regardless. I don't give a fuck how we get there. Like, pick the baby. But it took him to kind of bring that full circle of like, we can make babies all day, make lots of babies. And I wasn't thinking like that at first. I was just on some like, no, like this is the one that's got to make it. You know what I mean? That was my only chance if I do get that far. So that's scarcity mindset.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's what it is. So it just takes time to break out of that therapy and a patient man. I feel like the relationships that didn't work for me, the relationships that did not work, I feel like y'all all did lack patience. But again, I left before you could show me, so who would know?
Yeah, that part. Yeah, a patient man is a great man.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate
And you
that.
made it.
For sure.
So
Every
far,
day.
girl, you are doing it. And for people who want to tap into what you're doing, and people who want to kind of like, you know, get involved with Wealthy College Kid and learn about the educational aspects of e-commerce and the clothing line, how can they do that?
You guys can find me at Christianna Hurt on Instagram or any social media platform. I'm still not verified, so you guys can come see me. Yeah, like,
you are verified, just not on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm verified on Facebook. But you guys can come and see me or just type in Wealthy College Kid. And then Just Kidding Kids is actually a wellness brand now. And it is, it's vegan, non-GMO, no artificial colors, probiotic and multivitamins, drops for infants, and then gummies for toddlers and teens and kids. So super excited about that and entering the supplement space. I have a great manufacturer and a great team behind me. So you guys will see that all 2023.
There it is. Y'all, this has been another amazing, dynamic episode of Finding Your Niche with Niche. I'm so glad you guys tapped into this amazing interview. And I'm so glad to be connected with you and to talk with you. And I just commend you for your strength and your audaciousness to continue to, you know, steam forward in the face of insurmountable odds. And I congratulate you on all
gotta live for a living.
on your success. Yeah, girl. So yeah, y'all tap into what she's got going on and subscribe to the channel. All right, we out of here. Peace.